Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, Australians returning home from overseas could be sent to Tasmania, with a quarantine hub to be considered. As Premier Peter Gutwein keeps a strong hold on the state's borders, more rental relief is on the way to those facing COVID hardship.
Planes jetting into Tasmania, but they could be landing for a different reason. Our state now in the running to be a future quarantine hub for international arrivals.
We would look to the risk that those people might pose based on where they'd come from, and we would put in place appropriate quarantine requirements to ensure there was no risk to the Tasmanian community.
Suggested today at National Cabinet, as the Premier sticks to his guns on keeping Tasmania's borders shut until December 1, urging locals to fill the gaps left by an absence of seasonal workers.
And I'm calling on Tasmanians today, whether you're a student looking for work over the coming summer months or a Tasmanian in need of work, get on board and help our agricultural industry and gain some skills in the process and, importantly, earn some money.
Despite 0 active cases, Public Health is reassuring Tasmanians to not be alarmed if our tally rises in the coming days, after a Launceston woman in her 60s who returned from the United Kingdom in March was tested for COVID-19 antibodies.
That test came up positive. It doesn't mean that she's an active case, but it does mean that she's very likely to have had infection around about the time that she arrived from the UK.
Meanwhile, roofs will remain over the heads of struggling local renters, with the relief fund and notices to hold rent increases and evictions extended to December 1.
The government will also allow tenants who have accessed the fund to apply for a further payment of up to 4 weeks' rent to a maximum of $2,000 if they are still in arrears.
Alongside a new landlord support fund and proposed rent repayment plan to aid property owners also under financial stress.
That'll give the property owners the ability to catch up with their mortgage repayments, give the tenants the ability to catch up with their rent and stay in the property.
This bill will be brought to Parliament before December and will help provide a pathway forward for tenants and landlords when the emergency period is set to conclude.
In another positive move, school formals and celebration dinners are officially going ahead, with dancing now allowed. Ruby COMMANE, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, a 45-year-old man has pleaded not guilty after allegedly stabbing a gym goer in the face and hands in Launceston. Paul Justin Smith faced the Launceston Magistrates Court on a wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm charge over the attack at Kingsmeadow's Zap Fitness in July. He will appear in court again on November 16. Abuse, a risk of injury and near-death experiences. That's what our road workers face on a daily basis. The Your Speed is Our Safety campaign launched today, urging Tasmanian motorists to slow down through a confronting TV campaign.
Every week, road workers across the state are experiencing near misses.
It was quite scary. Driver wasn't following the flow of traffic and come directly at me, missing me by about 15 centimetres. It shook me up. Scared me. I didn't want to get back on the road.
Inattention and phone use are often to blame.
If we had someone out on a work site with us, you can nearly guarantee every second or third car they would be on their phone.
A partnership between the state government and numerous other organisations has funded a 3-part ad campaign, airing from this weekend, which aims to remind motorists to slow down and drive safely around roadworks.
We know that it's really frustrating for the travelling public, but these works are really important to ensure the safety of our road network.
Roadworks may not be front of mind as one of the most dangerous jobs in the state, but this year alone, 2 people have died at work sites across the country.
They should be able to go home safe, that they haven't been threatened or menaced by people who might want to shout something out the window or throw something or charge their car at them. That is unacceptable. It's illegal, but for the few that still need to be told, this campaign is for you.
Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
Including my daddy.
Tasmania Police has added new members to its ranks, with more than 20 men and women graduating today. The group spending 31 weeks training physically and mentally for the role, which included playing a part in the local coronavirus response.
Tasmania's newest recruits, now ready for life on the beat.
Where I'm going to be posted, which is Bridgewater, in more of a sort of suburban and rural setting, is a unique opportunity for me.
It's just something I've thought about doing since I was little, and it's a job that's different every day.
11 men and 11 women today officially taking their place in the force. They paraded in front of family and friends in a ceremony dating back hundreds of years. From high school students through to primary school teachers, this year's group hailing from a variety of backgrounds.
To have some people who are straight out of school who have got the right level of maturity, and it's also great to have some older ones there with some really interesting life experiences before coming to Tasmania Police.
The course taking nearly 8 months to complete, with the group learning about the theoretical and practical side of the job. The coronavirus crisis also playing a role in their training.
Recruits also went out and assisted in the COVID hotline on the phone in the call centre there, which was a really good experience for them as well.
And whether it was in the classroom or having university lectures or like in the gym learning defensive tactics, every day was certainly very different.
They'll now move to their first postings, all excited about the challenge.
Just getting out there and interacting with the community and seeing how I can help.
There's so many different pathways that you can go down, and it's something that challenges you in every single part and every aspect of the job.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
North Hobart has become the first sports club in the state to offer access to counselling. The Demons teaming up with Relationships Australia for a wellbeing support service pilot program. Players, staff and volunteers will be able to access a confidential number, giving them an opportunity to speak about issues with trained professionals.
Our club leaders and coaches do an amazing job at working with their young charges, but they're not health professionals.
It's a really great way of being able to create a culture where seeking support is encouraged, and it also removes the barrier where people may not be able to afford to access.
The club says more than 200 people will benefit from the program, with hopes to extend it statewide in the future. The popular Barn Boogle Polo has been cancelled for next year. Suffering the same fate as many other events, the pandemic has made it too hard to run the crowd favourite, as most of the riders and horses come from interstate. The polo was first held in 2015 and organisers hope to see it return in 2022. Well, years after serving their last patrons and patients, 2 of Queenstown's most iconic buildings are starting to come to life. The Hunters Hotel and the old Queenstown Hospital are being transformed from rundown shells into modern tourism magnets. But the new lease on life is also opening a window to the past.
More than 2 decades after saying goodbye to the Hunters Hotel, Ralph Wildenaeuer is starting to say hello to its new look.
You don't realise how much you've done when you're doing it because it's so slow. But when you look at pictures going back 3 years, you think, what did it look like that?
And when you look at the rooms which haven't been touched, you see what he means. But this is what it's turning into. Modern, comfortable accommodation, each with their own style and design. Then there's the balcony, long an eyesore on Queenstown's main street. It's finally being fixed.
That's where the Labor politician King O'Malley stood and held speeches to the public below. And also when the Mount Lyell mining disaster happened, they made the announcements from the balcony.
There's still plenty more which needs updating, not least Footscray being on top of the ladder. But secrets such as these ceiling roses are being rediscovered after being hidden for decades.
This hotel, they'd done some horrible renovations in the 70s, but it still had a lot of the original features.
Up the hill, the old Queenstown Hospital remains scarily intact. So scary, in fact, paranormal tours are being run while renovations take place.
They're good spirits. We've got Uncle John here and Mr. Walker.
It's also a frighteningly big job ahead, but from the old operating theatre to the original maternity ward, Joseph Toth sees potential to create something truly unique, incorporating the hospital's antiquated features.
It's not digital technology, it's all old school technology, but they all still work.
Making life easier, every aspect of the building is documented in great detail thanks to the abundance of old health department records. Some accommodation is ready to open, but the rest Joseph will work on for the rest of his life.
I've still got the old morgue, so I'm ready. I'm catered for.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
A group of Tasmanian waste warriors is proving you're never too young to make a difference. Using funding from the Hobart City Council, Mount Stewart Primary School introduced 5 different bin categories for each classroom. The move's slashing landfill by 2/3 in only 7 months. The council's latest round of sustainability grants is now open, with more than $245,000 available. If you're still looking for the perfect gift this Father's Day, the search is over. Men's Resources Tasmania has collaborated with Tas Dads to create the Dad's Book to help support men in their new role as fathers.
There's no lying, it's an absolute blessing having a kid, but there's also, with that comes a lot of challenges to kind of navigate your way through when you haven't done it before.
Dads have always wanted to be involved and are involved, but yeah, we don't necessarily know where the resources are, who to go to for those supports.
The book is available online or through birthing centres.
After a near faultless start to this year's TSLW campaign, Launceston will face one of its biggest tests this weekend. Players will battle it out with Glenorchy, the only side they've lost to this season.
For Launceston, it's not a question of winning games, but a question of staying motivated while winning games.
We're constantly wanting to push ourselves in other areas of the game rather than just the scoreboards.
Especially when the margin on the scoreboard is so big. In the last 3 matches, the Blues have won by a total of 144 points. Though throughout this season, one side has been their Achilles heel, Glenorchy, this weekend's opponent.
It's not so much about redemption or anything like that. We've got focuses and things that we know we needed to do better.
Angela Dickson and her team relishing in the form of their AFLW stars, but know the Magpies roster has the potential to be just as dangerous.
There's not probably 1 or 2 you need to look for. There's probably about 6 or 7, and we're looking forward to that contest.
Meanwhile, Signet stalwart Julian DIREEN will crack the 400-game milestone in this weekend's Southern Football League.
Well, I didn't expect to be still playing now. It's just sort of crept up on me.
The reserve-grade defender keen to lace up the boots as long as his body allows.
I still feel like I can play, and if there's a need, I probably still will, but we'll wait and see what happens.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
And after more than 10,000 entries, we're one step closer to knowing the name for Tasmania's NBL team. Management of the top flight basketball competition has narrowed down the shortlist to 5 names. They include the Tridents, the Pride, the Jack Jumpers, the Timbers and the Mountaineers. One name will be eliminated each week over the next month before the final reveal on October 1st.
Good evening. Temperatures close to average today, although cooler in the west and southwest. Hobart 16 degrees, Launceston and Burnie 15 today, Devonport 13. Warmest was 17 at Friendly Beaches. St Helens and Bushy Park 16, Smithton and Grove 15. Strawn and the Islands recorded 14 degrees and Low Head 13. We did have some wave cloud today over the west and south, with increasing cover over the north ahead of the cold front, which is just moving into the picture there to the west. The low pressure system to our west extends a cloud band towards South Australia as well. More cloud sits off New South Wales, and an onshore flow produced the scattered cloud over the eastern seaboard. Tomorrow the front will be through, the next well back near WA as a large high consolidates over the nation. Winds northwest to westerly at 10 to 20 knots, westerlies at 25 knots over the north and south. A strong wind warning for waters between Sandy Cape and Wineglass Bay, and also from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Fair bit of the coastline covered. Forecast for tomorrow, partly cloudy for Hobart, 15 the high. A shower or 2 for Medina, 12 the top and 12 for Oatlands, an early shower clearing. Launceston 17 with a shower or 2 early, 15 for Devonport. Early frost for Liaweenie, still not that cold, 0, 7 the top. 15 for Burnie and partly cloudy. Showers easing from Strawn, 14 the high. Marrawar, 13 and showery. In the east, St Helens early showers 16, 16 the high also for Swansea, Orford possible early shower and 15 degrees. The big day, Father's Day Sunday, fine apart from possible showers over the west early, fine on Monday but partly cloudy and maybe a late shower over the west, and on Tuesday showers extending statewide with fresh to strong northwesterlies. Partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow, morning fog and a shower for Adelaide, a shower in Melbourne, an early shower clearing from Sydney, sunny later there, a nice one in Brisbane and a sunny 35 in Darwin. And here are the current conditions with showers around most of the state at the moment. Kim, Sunday I'm looking forward to adding to my sock and underwear drawer as usual.
Be grateful. Thank you very much, Murph. That's your news for now. You can join Louise Hubar and the team this weekend. On behalf of the crew tonight, good night.